What's up, guys? I had a little time to mess around up here with this Honda stuff today, so I just wanted to give you a little update on where I'm at. This is the wiring harness. I have stripped it all. That's all the corrugated tubing that goes on it, but I pulled all the electrical tape off of it completely, stripped it all back. I'm going to clean it real good and rewrap it all and put the tubing back on. Does that interest you? Do you need something from here? This was smashed. This is my distributor connector. It was completely smashed, as you can see. I depinned the whole connector and changed it over to this one. So I fixed that problem. These are my 3 VTEC wires. I knew they were here. They were really hidden inside the harness. They were cut all the way back. I could barely see them. I tried to find them in my last video and didn't actually quite show them to y'all. The car I pulled this from was listed as an automatic. And I could swear to you I saw 2 like pressure solenoids. Like it looked, I thought I was looking at an automatic when I looked down in the car, and it is listed as an auto when I went over there, but I didn't care about that. I just knew that would just be extra shit. I was like, oh well, if it's an automatic, it will just be a whole bunch of extra wires that when I got down to this point, I would just strip them back and cut them completely out, depin them from the main connector, just get rid of them completely. It's just extra shit that I have to deal with to remove, but it wouldn't cause me any problems. It would just be extra. Well, I'm looking at this harness and there's just no fucking way. From what I know of these automatic transmissions, they have like 4 to 6 plugs plugged into them. And I don't have all that extra wiring here on this harness. I don't have enough wiring for that. I don't have enough plugs for that. So this is clearly the exact right harness. This has got to be a OBD1 standard transmission VTEC, because I found the wires harness. So this is exactly right. Just a little cut up. Now, check this out. These 2 wires here were cut off the back of the intake, and then these are like 2 more. These for sure are wires for intake sensors. Okay, this wire right here, both of these right here, this is the same connector as this connector, as this connector, as this connector. This is your, I believe, coolant temp. This that's cut off right here goes on the side of the head. It's also the same fucking connector that's missing from right there. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the exact same connector doing different things dangerously close to each other on the same harness. That's something I knew about when I was a teenager. We did a swap and we realized that. We're like, oh shit, we can plug everything in wrong. Look at this. I can plug this same plug in right here. Clip. And then I can take it over here, and here's this little extra piece that I have, which I don't know if that's like my purge valve. It's not. I don't know, anyway, see that plugs into both of those. Let's see over here. Plugs right into there. Let's see. It plugs into here. Plugs into there. Through it. Let's see. There might actually be 5 of them. Let's see. It might be the same on this VTEC switch. Let's see. Look at that. Even the VTEC switch. So that makes a total, yeah, and it is the same. All 5 of the 2-prong plugs under the hood of this car are the same fucking connector. All 5 of them. For anybody that doesn't do a lot of wiring or wire up a lot of motors, what I'm trying to say is you're asking for shit to get hooked up backwards and wrong and all out of place. I mean, so I'm gonna have to do a little more research on this. I'm actually going to have to like get a diagram, like a color-coded, like a pinout diagram for this harness that's color-coded, just to figure out where to plug in everything, because all the fucking plugs go everywhere. What were you guys thinking? I mean, damn, it's awesome for the simplicity, but good lord. Yeah, when I was a teenager, me and a friend hooked a motor up And we realized this way back then. We thought there was just 2 on the back of the intake that were the same. I didn't realize all of them under the hood. All the 2 prongs are the same. Yeah, we hooked 2 sensors up backwards, and when we went to start the car, it smoked up out the intake, like burnt up one of the sensors immediately. Don't even remember what happened with that car or what was going on with that situation. It wasn't my car. I just remember looking at stuff and going, oh shit, you just plugged this in wrong? Yeah, there are 5 of the same plugs. I guess that's good. It's gonna be easy for me to get on. I've definitely got enough of those pigtails now to go everywhere. I've just gotta now for sure look at the engine harness pinout by color. Like check this all by color code and figure out, okay, not I didn't know the colors of the wires that go to the evap purge valve or the air intake or the intake air temperature sensor or you know, anything. I need to know the colors of it now because they're the same. And even like these 2 that are 3-wire, I believe both of these 3-wire ones probably interchanged too. Let's see. Yep, those are identical, and they're that far apart from each other. Like one of those is the map sensor, and the other one is I don't fucking know what, but they're right here next to each other. I did find out I can just use the Y8 stuff. This should plug right in, this should plug right in, this should plug right in. That's what I'm saying, 3-prong and 3-prong, and they're right next to each other. And if you don't like know the color coding, that's fucked, man. You gotta try to just hook the engine harness up and you can easily plug all this stuff in backwards. That looks like it's gotta be a throttle position sensor just based on where it's at. And then I'm pretty sure that's my map sensor. So plugging those in backwards is a big fucking deal you don't need to do. That might be the idle air control valve. I don't see what the fuck else it could be. I did figure out a little bit more about this intake situation. The Y8 throttle body will work fine. I do really need to get the throttle cable and throttle cable bracket both from a Y8. I need like the actual throttle cable that goes to the gas pedal and the bracket for the throttle cable both from this car, because the other ones, they don't interchange. You have to end up making your own custom bracket. Basically I could make that cable work, but I'd have to make a custom ugly looking bracket here. I don't really want to do that. But yeah, this style that doesn't have this bullshit on the front of it is actually the one I want. And the rail, I do actually want to keep this rail, I was told, because of the bolt hole locations. The rail doesn't bolt to the manifold in exactly the same spot, and I'm going to keep this rail but put the other injectors under this rail, which I don't have the bolt that goes on the end of this rail. I'll figure that out. So yeah, I've got this like 95% figured out, and I'm just on a time crunch doing a lot of other stuff, but hopefully very soon I'll have it running. I mean, I think I've got everything figured out to get the harness right. I'm gonna piece the harness together and leave it open and sit it down in the car and try to crank and run the car before I wrap the harness back up all pretty, make sure I get it all right. But hopefully I'll be doing that really soon. I think I've got this all just about figured out. I just gotta figure out what all these plugs go to because they're all the same plug. Wow. BMW's like the opposite of that. You'll think you got 3 of the same plug in your hand, and then you'll realize all 3 of them have a little groove in a different spot, so they don't actually interchange. They're slightly different. These are the same. That just prove it to you. I just plug the same fucking one into everything. So that's gonna be fun. I now have to figure that out. But I looked up a little bit about it and figured out that all my Y8 stuff will work except for that thing that, as I said, was completely missing. So the only sensor that I can't use off the OBD2 that is actually missing is the intake air temp. The intake air temp sensor, the one that was bolted to the back bottom of the Z6 manifold, and I knew there wasn't anything bolted to my manifold right there. The intake air temperature sensor is actually located it's stuck in the intake piping on the OBD2 car. that sensor is just jammed down in the intake piping, which is how my BMW is now too, rather than it being in the actual intake manifold plenum. So that one sensor, I'd have to figure that out, but it's intake air temp. Pretty sure it's going to run without it. The map sensor, the throttle position sensor, and the intake, the idle control valve, all those will plug in and work. And then I've got the right distributor and a starter. So yeah, and a fuel system, everything. So I was bitching about the fuel system on this car, and I did go ahead and get some parts for the fuel system. When I went to buy the World War 255, I realized that the World War 255 with the Civic install kit was 80 bucks. Or you could buy the World War by itself for 50 bucks and the Civic install kit for 20 bucks. You could literally save 10 bucks just by buying the install kit and the pump separate. And I also realized when looking it up a little bit that the Civics actually use the same wire connector for the pump, so you don't even have to like change the wiring on the pump. Makes it a lot easier to install the aftermarket pump. You don't have to solder in a new pigtail for the pump. Now, like I said, saved myself 10 bucks. I bought the pump alone and the Civic kit for 20 bucks. $20 Civic kit. It is what it's supposed to be. It's a sock, a little chunk of fuel line, two hose clamps. Here is the pump. I even checked again, it's written in red, real big. Supposed to be a pump alone. That's obviously the pump. I don't even need to unwrap it. But anyways, they sent me a whole fucking install kit with the pump. Multiple socks. I've got multiple socks. I've got the connector, yeah. There's the connector if I need it. There's another chunk, a little longer of wire. Of hose. Two more connectors. Now, neither one of these socks matches that sock exactly. But, pretty much think I didn't need to buy a kit. I think they fucked up and accidentally sent me one that had the whole kit with it. So, these socks are different, but like I said, I think either one of these socks, like that sock, would probably sit down in the tank and pick up fine, rather than I bought a whole kit just to have this different looking sock. But yeah, I didn't know that stuff was going to be in the box, and I wasn't supposed to, and I checked, and I guess they just said fuck it and just sent me the pump with the install kit already in it. This is the tiniest little precision screwdriver I could find. I've been using this for my depinning. It's hard to even show it on camera, it's so small. But yeah, this is what I've been using to depin these. You actually have to pop the top off and then knock the pins out, and the whole little process to the depinning. It's kind of tedious, but once you do it a bunch, you learn to not yank on shit, and that if it's not coming loose, that you're not doing something right. To keep from breaking all the plastic, you just gotta take your time, do it right, don't yank on anything. It's not fun to depin and repin a harness though, I'll say that. I just wanted to show you all a little bit with my fuel system. This is the fuel filter. These are always black, always. This kind of bothers me. It showed up, and this is ugly. It's gonna be freaking rusted, or just, it's horrible looking. I hate that. It's got a little bit of a shininess to it, but I think that's just gonna turn to rust color immediately. But it's supposed to be flat black. They're always black. I've replaced a lot of fuel filters on Hondas. You can see them. It's right out in the open in the engine bay. I really want it to be flat black, to the point that I might actually take the time to take the top and bottom off. I might actually spray that black, because it is very noticeable in the engine bay where it sits, and it looks ugly. So yeah, that's my fuel system. I do have one other part on the way for the fuel system. I've got a new banjo bolt for the top of this that has a little 90-degree adapter and a thread-on gauge. So I'll have a fuel pressure gauge right here on top of the filter underneath the hood. So while looking at the motor underneath the hood, you'll be able to see fuel pressure, where it's at. Real cheap solution. I could have ran a gauge to inside the car, but it's so cool and easy to just put that little gauge on there and have your fuel pressure gauge right there all the time for $20. Had to buy that little thing, see how it works out. It's probably gonna end up like blowing up and I'm gonna have fuel spurting up in the air over my eBay gauge, but as long as it works, it'll be cool. I'll be able to see the fuel pressure right there under the hood. So that's the fuel system. I'll try to get the tank drained and get all that installed as well. I mean, I have to do all that before I can turn it over, so. This isn't fun for me anymore, guys. I just want this car done. I've got everything. The car's never ran since I've had it. Probably hadn't ran in years. Never gonna have been put together as well as this. I just want it done. I just want it done. I'm tired, guys. I'm tired of this car already. Well, I mean, I'm not tired of it. I just want to hear it crank. Bummed out. This is parts everywhere. There's a lot going on. I didn't like buy this car running and, you know, start a project. This was like legit ass project car. Like, I bought this car wrecked with no drivetrain. I mean, I cut the whole front of it off and half the side of the front of it off, and like tacked on an ender fender and a new radiator support, and had nothing under the hood to start out with. Like, this has been a long process and a really extensive restoration of this car. Like, this thing was left for the fucking scrapyard, and it had a clean title, and I can't afford a running EG hatch with a clean title, so I bought it, and here I am paying the fucking price. See y'all later. It should work. Even if I'm throwing codes for a few things, I've got enough here to make it work. I'm tired of talking about this fucking car. I'm gonna clean the shit out of this harness. Anybody that's dealt with electrical stuff knows what that fucking slime is. Electrical tape leaves a real bad residue behind that's nasty as hell. And I've got to spray this all down with the electrical cleaner like alcohol and scrub it all down real good and clean it all off. And yeah, I've got it zip tied together right now, so the layout's still kind of the same. But I'm just going to put it in the car open and then take it out and wrap it. I'm actually wrapping it 3M purple. So I'll see you guys later. Hopefully the next time I talk to y'all, this harness will already be in the car. Like, I might actually, like, I think I've got this figured out. I might have this car running by the time I feel like filming again. I might have the motherfucker running today. I don't know. Depends on if I want to sit here with a soldering iron for a while. And then Google where to plug in what. I'll see y'all later. Autocross is this weekend. I've got to do a little bit of work to that car. And I'm still in the middle of trying to move next door. So that isn't noticeable. All my stuff's kind of torn apart. My office is completely torn up. But thank you guys for watching. I'm fucking out of it.